Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have set number 70676. This is Lloyd's Titan Mech, containing 876 pieces, and retailing for $79.99. Has one instruction booklet, which is actually kind of small for the size of the box, but it's perfect bound and everything. And inside that instruction booklet, there is a single advertisement in the back for the rest of the Season 12 sets, and it's this cool little poster style thing. And I guess maybe that counts too, but that's, I don't know, that's about LEGO life, I guess. But, you know, this is one of the larger sets from the summer 2019 wave. There's the Land Bounty and the Castle of the Forsaken Emperor that are larger than this, but, you know, this is the next biggest going down the line. It contains 6 minifigures, of which one of them is actually exclusive to this set. I think 2 of them, actually. Never mind. But, you know, the box looks pretty good. I like the summer 2019 design overall with Kai, and he wraps around to the side of the box. And the back just shows off some of the features of the set. So, you know, pretty cool looking box. And the mech overall is pretty tall. It's, you know, got a good size compared to a minifigure. It's one of the larger mechs that LEGO has done for the Ninjago theme as of recently. And in fact, I can't think of any other mech that's retailed for $80 aside from the Ninjago movie ones. So, you know, I think this might be the show's biggest mech. And, you know, the way that a figure pilots this mech is you lift up the cockpit there. You have to remove the swords from him, and there is no clip inside here for him to hold on to it, but you are supposed to sit the figure down here and close this back up. So it is one of those mechs where the figure's face sort of becomes the face of the mech, which, you know, they've done that a couple times, and I think it usually works pretty well. It does feel sometimes that it's a little bit open, and, you know, maybe they're not super protected in there, but just as far as appearance-wise, it looks pretty good. And, you know, I think we're going to have to zoom in on individual sections of this in order to get you a better look at some of the details and some of the articulation. So I guess let's go from the bottom up. The legs are both done up pretty well. They are on one of these kind of stiff joints up here at the hips, and there is no knee articulation in these things, which, you know, from mechs of this size, sort of come to expect. You know, it's always nice to get mechs with knees, but you know, there's only so much weight that these can support, and these do also have the additional axis of articulation with the legs there, which I think they use this system in the Fire Mech, which, you know, I think it was a new system at that point, but it works out pretty well. You do have some sand green armor plating on the legs here. These Nexonized tiles in sand green are kind of cool, and use some rice heads, get some good overall detailing. I guess this is not a good pose for it to be standing in. There we go. That's better. Just because I wanted to lean over to the one side. I do have the use of some boosters in the back, so you can sort of imagine that this has the power to, you know, jump a little bit with some rocket propulsion from here. Those are BB-90 heads, unprinted in black. And then we do additionally have a little bit of ankle articulation. Not too much, like you can't do anything too crazy with it, but, you know, it allows you to kind of flatten the foot out a little bit, and get a little bit of different posing for the feet. You do also have this angled thing up at the front, which allows you to sort of stand it on. You can get a little bit of support if you end up putting it like that, but you're not really going to get it to be too stable standing on the toe there. Yeah, it might be possible to get it to work in a couple of positions, but it will be very difficult to do so. Again, there's also a sticker here on the feet, and the other leg is pretty much exactly the same. Moving up to the torso section, just the way that this gets built up is pretty cool. I like the use of these wedge slope curve pieces and the teeth pieces, and these just kind of get lodged in place, like they fall pretty naturally here, and the way they do that with some Technic pieces, the way that gets done is just pretty cool. And you know, it has a little bit of give to it, but once you push these in, it's really locked in place. Which I don't know, I just thought that was pretty neat. You have a sticker up here in front of Lloyd, and I guess you could sort of change the angle of that too if you want. But you know, just wrapping around the side, it's a little bit plain, but the arms will mostly cover it, and it's nothing too out of place. On the back here, we get a little bit of weird Technic, and brown maybe stands out a little more than I would like it to, but it's not too bad, and you know, it works pretty well. We'll go up a little bit more to see these wings later, but from the back, you know, they do look pretty cool. They're mostly covered up, and then we got the I guess these gears sort of feel like engines to me, so just kind of works pretty well, pretty neat. And just turning around, these shoulder pad pieces are pretty neat. And from up here we can see the design going on here. These are stickers. These are actually prints, and there's 4 of them on each shoulder pad. The shoulder pads can be articulated a little. They can be rotated back and forth and angled up and down to kind of get them into whatever position you need them to be in. Speaking of, these wings can also be articulated up and down, and you can rotate them all the way around too if you want the engines to be facing forward, or I guess engine things, I don't know. If they're actually supposed to be engines, of course. The way that the helmet is built up is pretty cool. It's all brick built and works well. There's one sticker on this side and a different one on this one. And the whole thing just hinges upwards. And the way they build it up looks like a samurai helmet. It's cool. I like it, and I like the use of these dragon hilt pieces as the little kind of horns of the samurai helmet, for lack of a better word. And just to get a little bit of a look in here at Lloyd's seat, it's done up there with some tan upholstery, and those are printed cheese slopes on the side that were originally used in the Ninjago movie theme. But, you know, it overall is a pretty... Oh, also this is just hinged in place, but that looks good. Now, the one other thing that's interesting about this mech is that we can actually remove this back thing. And with that removed, we can see the back is still not terrible, but a little bit plain. And this actually becomes a little bit of a flyer mechanism thing, which we'll take a look at separately in just a second. But I wanted to remove that just so that you'd be able to see the arms in full without that obstructing any of it at all. So we've got the shoulder joints, which work pretty well, and then we have an elbow joint, which you can sort of move it side to side a little bit, but it's mostly just that direction. And the sword here is attached in place with one of these Technic pieces, and it just slides onto an axle, so it's not locked in place unless you have the arm or the fingers close around it. But it does prevent it from, you know, just slipping up and down and out of the hand, which, you know, that's always good. And the other arm is basically the same, you know, in functionality, but it does have this additional saw blade piece, which was a new part for this wave, but you just spin that around with this little gear that's on the bottom. And you can put the sword here if you want to. It does have the same attachment point. But let's take a look at the little flying vehicle that attaches to the back. So here's the little flying back attachment pulled directly off the mech, and you're supposed to then take it and flip these around so that you have the you know, engines facing upwards. And that's the simple transformation. Basically, they want these to be facing forward when it's on the mech, and this is the side that attaches the mech. But, you know, those are obviously the better sides, so if you're going to be using this separately, then you're going to want those facing upwards, is basically the gist of it. It does have a single sticker on here, which, you know, looks cool, especially when attached to the back of the mech. Has 2 places for swords, which you could remove those if you wanted to and use them as weapons. And then we have this little, I guess, you can sort of see this as an additional repulsor engine sort of thing, or just light, you know, whatever you want it to be, really. And the way you fit a figure on here is kind of lame, I gotta admit. You just sit a figure on like that, and you know, it just kind of drives. Or I guess you could alternatively do it like that. They don't really tell you in the instruction booklet which way to do it, but on you know, on the box it does show it this way actually. So you know, it looks okay. The one other thing that this has going for it is actually it's got some spring-loaded shooters in there, and I forgot to preload it with missiles. And that's mainly because the missiles do look a little bit weird when attached to the mech, because you just have these weird green bars sticking, you know, sticking up on the back of the mech, or not sticking up, but like, you put it on the back of the mech, and this is what you see. And there's just these two weird green things sticking out. So I did remove them for that. But now that they're reattached, you know, they just shoot out like normal, and it sort of looks like this is a cannon, which by default this is sticking out towards the top of the mech. So I guess if you want to imagine that you can shoot some rockets straight upwards and have them like heat-seeking or something, you can do that. But you know, this is fine. I don't really like. It's cool that you can remove it, I guess, but I don't really get too much value out of this being a separate thing. But you know, the fact that it creates these cool wings for the mech is nice. Now, the last little thing to take a look at here before we look at the figures is this Spinjitzu Tornado. And this is one of the Forbidden Spinjitzu molds, dual molded in aqua and a translite blue, which, you know, it is meant for Forbidden Spinjitzu Zane here. And you know, it spins okay. I don't think it spins nearly as easily as the Legacy spinners, and you have to really kind of figure it out. There we go, that's a decent spin. I'm still trying to master these ones, because I don't know, I find them a little bit difficult to get working properly. But fortunately, it can't fall backwards off the edge of my desk. But I think I am probably going to stop here. Are you supposed to spin it by... Okay. I've had mixed success with both methods. You gotta really practice this to get it down. Oh, there we go. That's a pretty good spin right there. But yeah, it's cool to add in here. It doesn't, you know, have one of those base pieces attached that has the sort of screw-on attachment to work with the Spinjitzu Slam launchers, but you could easily just swap it out. It is the same mold as those spinners, and you know, it's a cool thing. If you want it to just stand there and look cool on display, all you gotta do is remove the 2x2 slider, and you know, it does look nice. I'll give it that. And this is a really good color combination for a Zane Spinjitzu Tornado. So the first two figures in the set are the two exclusive ones, and we have Lloyd in his fully suited up Season 11 suit, and Zane in his Forbidden Spinjitzu version, where the interesting thing about Zane is his mask piece, and the interesting thing about Lloyd is actually his mask piece as well. The mask is exclusive to Zane, because this is the only set that Forbidden Spinjitzu Zane comes in, and that's a cool color combination. It works really well for Zane. And this is the only set that fully kitted up Season 11 Lloyd appears in, so it's the only one that comes with his mask, which is printed, which, you know, is cool. Otherwise, they both just have the regular torsos and legs for their Season 11 suits, so Zane's torso and legs here also appear in the Shuricopter, where he has his version with the mask that has a symbol printed on it. So, you know, that's cool. Lloyd also has this armor piece, which, you know, is also used on all of the Season 11 figures in their fully kitted up suits, where it has that cool molded symbol up there, and you can fit a sword on the back, which is cool. And they both have back printing on their torsos, and Lloyd has an alternate face. Zane has the back print that has been used on that version of the head since it was released, and Lloyd has his sword that was originated in the Ninjago movie with the tassel on the back, but this time it's in gold, which, you know, that's cool. Both of these figures are pretty nice, and of course it is always nice to get Lloyd, you know, or a version of the ninja in their full suits, and the Forbidden Spinjitzu outfits for the season are pretty cool as well. I sort of wish that the Forbidden Spinjitzu ones came with the armor piece as well. Anyway, but you know, it's not the end of the world that they don't. But you know, both of these are good, and both of these are draws to the set, I think. And the next 4 figures are all just members of the Blizzard Warrior army, where we have a Blizzard Archer and a Blizzard Swordmaster here. Blizzard Archer just has a crossbow as his accessory, and the Blizzard Swordmaster has the medium Azor katanas, which is kind of cool. But if we move that out of the way, we can sort of see the printing on the torso, and like a little better. And you know, both of these are cool-ish. The art style is a little bit simplified. We do have a black hat, which is a little bit less common for the Blizzard Swordmaster, and I really like his transparent blue head. The Archer here just has the regular, generic, most basic version of the face print for the Blizzard Warriors. The cape on the Swordmaster is kind of cool, and you know, it has a little bit of back printing underneath. And both of these figures appear in other sets, so neither of them are anything too special. But again, there aren't too many sets that focus on the Blizzard Warriors in this, you know, wave of sets. So you know, they aren't too common. Each of these, I think, in this particular combination of parts, each comes in like 2 sets or something. And you know, the other sets that they come in are going to be the Shuricopter and the Castle of the Forsaken Emperor, and I think Lloyd's Journey comes with one of the figures that we're about to see, and I think this guy comes in the Clutch Powers pack. But you know, both of these are pretty decent figures and will help you build up your army of Blizzard Warriors. Would look good added on to the castle. And here we have another generic Blizzard Warrior plus General Vex here, and both of these figures are pretty cool. They both have the cool new molds for the helmets and armor pieces, which, you know, they both look pretty good and pretty respectable. Obviously they're in different colors. General Vex is the cooler or more desirable of the two, I guess. As far as weapons go, we have another just medium Azor katana, and Vex has the staff that has the Scroll of Forbidden Spinjitzu on there. And of course, like every set that comes with one of those staffs, you get the full sheet with all 3 options for the vinyl piece that you can poke out. Obviously this is one from a different set. I actually poked, I took one from each of the same sheet, so, you know, I'd have that extra one to be able to show you. And, you know, as far as from the back, the molding is still really good, but in order to see the detail underneath, we're going to have to remove their armor. And you can see that they have the same torsos as the other 2 figures in the set, so now nothing new, really, there. But Vex has a different face. This guy has the same face as the Blizzard Archer. Both of these are pretty decent figures again still, and I do really like the armor pieces for both of them. They're really fantastically molded. Overall, I think that this set is a pretty cool model for, you know, the price. I think that it's a fair value. It's not the greatest mech ever. I think that it suffers from a little bit of instability in the legs. You know, you probably saw it during the review. There were points where I would adjust this leg and the other one would splay out a little bit, which got a little annoying in attempting to pose it. But, you know, the arms, I think, are really well done. The articulation there is good, and I like the way that they got that done. But, you know, just you know, the legs leave a little bit to be desired. I like the overall look. It's very striking. It feels a little bit along the lines of Exo Force, which I know BFAB will be a big fan of that. But it's good. I like it. I don't think that I'm crazy about it, but you know, definitely met my expectations and is a pretty decent mech for what it is. Yep. I don't know. I can't say too much more about it because, you know, that's really all there is to it. It's you know, the figure selection is pretty decent for what it is. You know, the build was fine, completely what I expected. I will say, I guess there were some cool things build-wise going on in this middle section there. The back vehicle that can detach doesn't really add any value to me at all, but it looks really good when attached to the back of the mech, so I'm not really going to complain about it, because I'll just view it as just part of the assembly process, really. I guess the spring-loaded shooters are the one thing that's a little bit weird, but just leave the bolts off and it won't bother you at all. Actually, I guess I can real quick show you just what it looks like if you don't leave them off, because even then it's not that bad. You just have this little thing sticking out, and I guess you can shoot it upwards, and that reached the ceiling and it came back down because of gravity. But yeah, it's a pretty good looking model, good mech that looks pretty decent on display, and is worth the $80 price point. So, you know, if you want it, spend $80. You could probably wait and get it discounted eventually, which, you know, is fine. Hopefully it'll reach like a $64 price at some point, like the previous $80 hits have. If it does, I think that's excellent and would recommend it. So, hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.